Hey everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Welcome back to this YouTube channel on narcissism and narcissistic relationships. We're going to talk a little bit today about what actually is cheating in a relationship. It's the reason I'm asking this question. Something came up in the news lately that made me realize, I think we're not clear on this still. Before I get to that, though, because goodness knows cheating is related to healing, those of you wanting to do a bigger, deeper dive into healing, please check out my healing program. And we often have specials and all that to check out. If you go to the video notes, you can get a link. Because if you've been cheated on, I know many cases, working on healing is all the harder. But let's talk a little bit about cheating. Because really, what is it anyhow? So, I guess in the tabloid news or whatever, if you want to call it the news, entertainment news, there's been a few high-profile stories lately in the news about various forms of infidelity. Most recently, I was reading a story about some people, I don't know who they were, but about people who were the person in the relationship was sending sexually inappropriate texts to younger women who were not his wife. Now, one of the challenges with cheating, infidelity, betrayal, call it what you will, is what qualifies as cheating? I've always wondered, is there some sort of official definition or some kind of codified handbook out there, like the law of cheating? I mean, listen, I think most people agree on the clear-cut examples. Any kind of sexual contact probably qualifies as cheating if it's not an open relationship and that's not an agreement. Cheating, most people will agree with sex being cheating, but it's even still interesting to listen to the kind of justifications people will come up with. And these are sometimes narcissistic or at least really low empathy or highly entitled people might make for sexual kinds of encounters outside the relationship. It was only one night. I paid the person. I was drunk. It was a bachelor party. You and I haven't had sex in 2 years, that kind of BS. So even that whole sexual thing can become a debate. So there is no operationalization. There's no definite definition of cheating. There's no law or code. So it's very subjective and results in a lot of gaslighty stuff in relationships about cheating. But there's a lot of debate over whether sending sexually charged texts or romantic texts, I miss you, I can't stop thinking about you, you're on my mind all the time, or sending inappropriate pictures to somebody who's not your partner qualifies as infidelity. If it happened to you, my guess is that you believed it was cheating. If you did it, you might say like, it was just stupid nonsense, I wasn't thinking, and played off as not that big a deal. But ultimately, if a behavior is a violation of trust or a violation of the code of conduct in a relationship, personally, I think it qualifies. Drop in the comments. Do you think sexting is cheating? So let's come up with, let me use an example for people to think about how I would often sort of frame this to clients. Imagine that, so for a lot of people who are the ones who sent the problematic sexy text, they'll often say, it's not that big a deal. So this is the kind of test I use. I ask a person who was caught out in sending that kind of an inappropriate text, if your partner sent someone a message that was just like the message that you just sent to someone, would you be okay with it? If the answer is no, then I call that cheating. And I tend to go a bit sinister. With clients, I've said to them, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to imagine you find your partner's phone and you see that they sent that same exact text that you sent to someone, your little inappropriate text, and I'll read that text to them, to that attractive person that they work with. By doing it in this guided imagery kind of way, and I see my client who is a bit electronically cheating squirm, I tend to have my answer. So you might be wondering, why does this matter on a narcissism channel? Let's face it, narcissistic folks love to sexy text and inappropriate text. It's so easy for them. It's like a little validation bump. Now, keep in mind, not all people who engage in this kind of behavior are narcissistic, not by a long shot. Some are just emotionally stunted, some are impulsive, and in fact, people whose partners do this, the sex texting will say, they're shocked. They'll say, well, my partner's not entitled. They actually do have empathy. So when I saw these messages they were sending to someone else, I damn near fell off my seat. So while a lot of sexting folks are narcissistic, like I said, not by a long shot, is it all of them? So let's break it down. So I've been talking to people about this for years. what are the top reasons that the inappropriate sexty texty people cite as their reasons for doing this. And like I said, this is based on me clinically working with these sexy texters and with the people hurt by them. So these are the top reasons they give. I was lonely. I liked the attention. It was fun. It was a distraction. It was stupid, and it was just a nothing. Them's the reasons. I'd love for you to add in the comments other reasons if someone you've been in a relationship with has given you others. Now, these reasons are deeply unsatisfying for the person hurt by this behavior. And if you are the person doing the sex texting and you say to someone, oh, this was just nothing, it was nonsense, I barely even know this person, it just meant nothing. If you say that to someone when you do that, you're actually being a gaslighter, because you basically just broke another person's heart, and now you're saying it's nothing and it was over nothing. So now they feel worse. Oh, you broke my heart over nothing. I actually believe people. I believe the sex texters sometimes when they say it's nothing. I think in a world where most people are mindlessly staring at a 7-inch piece of plastic and glass most of the day, it's just one more piece of foolish entertainment coming through on their phone. The empty calories of an electronically mediated and soulless world. I actually do think it's mindless. But alas, it's not that simple. Because ultimately, there is a lack of empathy, denial, arrogance, entitlement, and dysregulation when people who are in a committed relationship with someone send an inappropriate sexual or romantic text to someone else. It's a lack of awareness, a lack of thinking of the pain it would cause someone if they knew that they were sending this text. It's a complete lack of consideration of consequences, or it's an entitlement that there wouldn't or shouldn't be any consequences because after all, it's just nothing. It's an arrogance that they believe that they won't get caught because it's so easy to delete and hide. And after all, they can change the name in the contacts to like Plumber or their friend John. And they might truly believe, these people who kind of get their little validation bumps from the sex texting, that they have it fully under control. It's the need for attention, the need for validation, rather than doing the hard work of figuring out why they need so much attention and admiration and validation, and not finding more emotionally mature and meaningful ways to maintain a normal, well-regulated sense of validation. I got to tell you, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've worked with countless clients that this has happened to, and their pain was real. Their betrayal was real. Over time, they did say it was often a little bit easier if there was never a physical relationship between their sex texting partner and the text receiver, but not much. It was a moment when their partner's selfish need was more important to them than protecting them. And it hurts to realize how easy it was for their partner to do that. I got to tell you, these aren't always easy ruptures to manage. Some relationships do end because of these transgressions, but I'll be frank with you, most don't. However, in the wake of these betrayals, even if it's just this electronic stuff, is a new reality. When a relationship loses trust, it never fully comes back. The relationship can often feel cheapened, and that doesn't feel right. And far too many people wonder, what was so great about this person they were texting? What did they have that I don't? Always remember, it's not you, it's them. Again, I am the first to say that not all electronic betrayers are narcissistic, though more than a few are. But it was reading the story in the press about a person who seemingly has it all, engaging in this kind of down market behavior that I have seen too many people hurt by, that actually inspired me to take this topic on. I have no doubt that many of you who have been in narcissistic relationships have endured this kind of conduct in your relationships. Betrayal hurts, regardless of the form it takes. It changes us, and it changes the relationship, and it stings when the world minimizes it. And people, friends, family say nonsense like, oh, it was just a few texts, whatever. It's not just a few texts. It's a person who chooses an infantile and impulsive need over actually engaging behavior like cherishing a partner to whom they made a promise. And if you happen to be the sex texter watching this video and you got caught out, word of advice to you: don't just palm it off as it was nothing or this person means nothing to me. Take some responsibility, but also acknowledge that you hurt the other person and you probably hurt them more badly than you recognize. Don't minimize that hurt because it actually makes the whole mess worse and actually hurts your relationship more. If only, and I hope one of you does this, design an app that asks you, are you sure, before you send stuff off of your phone and do something stupid. I suppose that's supposed to be the frontal lobe of our brain, but that doesn't seem to be working for more and more people these days. However you can do it, that are you sure should come from empathy. I think because there's so many different ways to betray people now, it's getting too easy to do it. You got to understand that even if you get a second chance, it's actually not really a second chance in these relationships. It's just now moving into a relationship that will forever kind of hold those dirty fingerprints of a lack of trust. And for anyone doing this, don't know if you're narcissistic or not, but I do know in those moments when you're engaging in that kind of texting to someone else who's not your partner, it's definitely a lack of empathy. Love to hear your thoughts too. Thanks again.